Golf is a complicated sport. It takes years of learning finely tuned mechanics to make it even barely tolerable to play, but golf video games, on the other hand, are a little more forgiving and accessible to the masses. Golf Club Wasteland ups the ante by not only delivering 35 holes of post-apocalyptic fun, but by making you question the democratic and capitalist lifestyles that fuel our nations. Hey guys, it's Cody with Indie Game Pulse, and here's 3 reasons why you should play Golf Club Wasteland. If you enjoy these types of videos and want to see more, hit the like button and consider subscribing for more. Both things help our channel grow and help our videos get spread to other indie game fans like you. Thanks. I'm going to start with the story because while the gameplay is fun, I found myself sucked into the twists and turns of Golf Club Wasteland like I was watching a Christopher Nolan film. And they're actually quite similar in a way, having several stories converging together in a finely woven narrative. Without spoiling the story too much, you learn about the lonely golfer in the hazmat suit, having ventured back from Mars, the destination of the ultra-rich. Following in the footsteps of the elite of Mars, our golfer has made the voyage back to Earth for a couple rounds by his lonesome. I'll say, if this were me, I would have brought a couple friends because I love a good threesome. Golf humor. We learn about our golfer through diary entries that are unlocked by reaching certain stroke objectives on each hole. That's not another joke, I just couldn't think of a better way to say that. The fewer strokes you use, the more likely you are to unlock these journal entries and learn more about our protagonist. The second part of the story revolves around a mysterious being that resides on Earth, and you learn more about him through a line or two at the beginning of each new hole. And lastly, there is an NPR-style radio program called Radio Nostalgia from Mars, which shares updates from life on Mars, as well as stories from the listeners of their nostalgia and memories of Earth and its final inhabitable days. This is where you can pick up a lot of contextual clues as to why the planet looks like it does and the events surrounding the expedition of the wealthy to Mars. I'll talk more about the music on the radio in a bit, but the voice-acted radio portions are amazing, with multiple languages being represented, making me wish for a more diverse vocabulary so I could understand even more. Most portions in other languages are translated via captions, but not all of them. There are many language choices in the menu though, so that players can experience the game best in their native tongue. Personally, I think politics and gaming go together like cereal and water, and I try to keep my gaming free of politics or opinions of that kind, but Golf Story Wasteland is a rare breed, and I actually enjoyed diving into some heavier themes and speculation mixed with a good dose of dark humor. Once you've completed a round of golf, there is a 50-plus page comic-style story that ties together some loose ends of the different timelines. And if you're a pro gamer like me and you move quickly through the story mode, there's even more story to be unlocked while playing the other modes. Let's talk about those. As you start your astronaut's rousing game of golf, you can choose to play the story mode, in which his journal entries are stored away in the pause menu for safekeeping while you become more and more immersed in the sights of Earth and the sounds of Mars radio. Or you can choose to play the challenge mode, where you have a strict stroke limit that you cannot exceed, and once you complete each hole, you'll be given the option to read the journal entries you've unlocked before moving on. Once you complete this challenge mode, you unlock the third and final iron mode, in which all mistakes, including hitting into a water hazard, off of a platform into the abyss, or any such mistake, will be punished by taking you back to the first hole and starting over. Oh, and you still have to get the ball in the hole at or under par. I can see this being an objective that less than 1% of players will complete, but it's there for you hardcore players. Throughout each mode, the course will remain the same, but having played through it 2.5 times now, yes, I did quit on the iron mode, the variety of landscapes and buildings you'll encounter are continually interesting and oftentimes quite breathtaking with their mix of abandoned structures, overgrown flora, and mutated fauna. From dark and mysterious foreground elements which occasionally obstruct your view, but also give you a closer look at this estranged planet, to the distant backgrounds of towering structures, some looking very familiar and others with humorous names emblazoned in neon lights. There are so many small touches to digest too, many which reference famous people, places, or even video games, and the apparent in-jokes that I didn't understand just made me all the more curious as to what I was missing. Perhaps some answers can even be found through the many stories being told along the way too. The angle and power mechanics are quite difficult to grasp even after a complete playthrough of any mode. That's to be expected though, I think, in a game featuring a sport that very few have the patience to learn, let alone master. I mentioned earlier that I would be coming back to this, but the soundtrack is such a strange mix of psychedelic techno and synth tracks mixed in with slower classical themes and many including entrancing vocals from around the world. And while at times this can feel a bit distracting between trying to absorb all this music and information audibly, as well as sometimes reading other portions of the story on screen, it's not often that I encounter a soundtrack that so poignantly fits into and complements the story. There are moments when the on-screen characters interact with the soundtrack to a degree, and there are other times when a caller on the radio will recall a memory from Earth, and then the host will play a song that coincides with that memory, and this just really blew me away. This game allows you to unwrap the many stories in so many different ways, and it feels rewarding when you take the time to listen attentively and grasp all of what is being portrayed. This isn't particularly a soundtrack that I would listen to outside of playing the game, as it's a pretty eclectic mix for my taste, but I can almost guarantee that I will listen to it again, probably while sitting alone in a quiet room to grasp the full experience. And don't get me wrong, these tracks are great quality too, and some had me singing along with them in just a few minutes, but the soundtrack stands out to me not for its memorable musical themes that games like Final Fantasy or Zelda deliver, but for its clever use of storytelling within the music and lyrics. If you like what you see here at Indie Game Pulse, join us on Discord and consider helping us grow by supporting us on Patreon or via YouTube channel memberships. Links are below. Thank you very much to my 1,490 subscribers for your support. For more top indie game countdowns and reviews, check out the videos on your screen now, and I'll see you on the other side.